Okay, so it's, I think, 6 a.m. in the morning. I've just woken up. I'm very tired. I'm getting ready for my day. However, something happened yesterday that made me need to do this vlog. It's like a story time, so bear with me whilst I try to get organised. Okay, so I'm not doing very well with this organisational thing. So, in the city I'm in right now, I've been here for about 3 years. I'm not planning on being here forever. I do want to leave fairly soon. But I have quite a few friends. I've made really good, strong female friendships. The female friendships I've made, a lot of them are single. There are a couple in relationships or in marriages or whatever, right? And I think that having the friendships has sort of solidified a lot of, especially the people in the groups who are sort of not as confident in themselves or not as happy with where they are in life. Met this woman 2 years ago. I was walking in the woods with my dogs. No, I was on my bicycle and I was with my dogs and we were cycling and the dogs were running alongside me. And this woman, she had her dogs, and she said, "Oh, my dogs are considered dangerous." And I said, "No, it's fine." And my dogs went up to her dogs, and all the dogs got on. So I was like, "How are your dogs dangerous?" And I think she said a few neighbours had reported her dogs because they were Akitas. I said, "No, they were getting on fine with my dogs. There was all that mutual respect and everything, And we just started talking, and she was such an open, friendly, just lovely woman, just open, friendly, nice, no malice, no pretension with some you get with some people. And she was just lovely. And we just started talking, and there was something she said that made me a bit uncomfortable. She said, "Oh, I love cycling." And she was looking at my bike, talking about my bike. I said, "Oh, do you cycle often? We can go cycling together." I said, "Obviously, I'm a very slow cyclist. I'm not as fast as you are," because she said she has a road racing bike. It's a very expensive bike and she has to be careful with where she rides it. And then she said, "Oh, I'm married." I said, "Oh, why don't you go cycling with your husband?" And she said, "Oh, he can't cycle." I thought, "Can he learn to cycle? Because it's a fairly easy thing to do." She said, "Oh, he doesn't want to learn." I thought, okay, but something about that just was a bit worrisome to hear. And then I asked her about dog sitting, anyone who she knows who dog sits, and she gave me a name, and she said that she drives the dogs to the dog sitters. You know where this is going. A few days later, I bumped into her again in the little area I'm in, and she looked so stressed. And I said to her, "Oh, what's going on?" She said, "I'm having to clear out this Airbnb that I rent. I'm having to do this, I'm having to do that. So I'm just running around doing so many things at the same time." And I thought, wow, that sounds really, really extreme. And I wanted to ask her, why isn't your husband helping you? But I didn't ask her because I thought, I've just met this woman. So we would bump into each other. I noticed that I never asked her once to come for a dog walk with me. I never asked her to come to mine. Never asked her to come for a dog walk. She never asked me to come round to hers. Whilst with my other friends, we were always seeing each other. It was just flow. Oh, who's coming round to ours? Who's meeting the dogs? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? So for someone who has a dog, who's my friend, who lives round the corner, it was very strange. But I knew she was a nice woman, but something stopped me from asking her asking her round or... and this is where the spirit of a person is very, very important. Several weeks later, I was going past a cafe, and she was like, hello, Oyinda. And she shot to her feet, and she ran up to meet me. And she was with a group of people at a table. And I remember looking at the table, and a man looked at me, we locked eyes, and I thought, that's her husband. And I remember thinking, that is King Toad. I don't know why I thought King Toad. I just thought... I don't know why I called him that. It was a very strange reaction, but I didn't like him, and he obviously didn't like me. We didn't say anything. We were quite a distance away, but we looked at each other very briefly. And this is why I think a lot of communication is non-verbal. If you cannot read non-verbal cues, you're going to get into a lot of difficult situations in life. We spoke for a bit. She was so excited to see me. She was just very excited to see me, like, oh, hello. And I didn't think much about it because I thought maybe she liked talking to me. But once again, we didn't talk about meeting because we mentioned, we should meet, but no one ever made any plans, and I was happy with that at the time. Several months, I'd bump into her here and there, and we didn't really say much. I bumped into her in the supermarket. But for someone who lives around the corner, you would be seeing each other. You'd be going for walks. Because I have another friend nearby. We go for walks, we bump into each other, we have long conversations. She invites me around for dinner. Her husband is there. We're all talking, we're all laughing. That is normal. Imagine, now this is early 2025. I had last sent her a message, and I felt very guilty in July 2024. And I wanted to message her again, but I kept putting it off. And usually when I want to message friends, I just message them. I kept putting her off because I thought, it's a lot of it's a big hassle to message her. So I just kept putting off. So finally yesterday I thought, okay, let me just send her a quick, like, hi, how are you? Quick one. And then she'll respond saying, hi, I'm fine, and that'll be it. This message opened up a torrent of just information. She was in the midst of packing to get away from her husband. He was out of the country for about a week, and she'd secretly rented a place in the city to get away with her and her dogs, and she was secretly packing. And all she said was, when I asked, hi, how are you? She just said, I'm packing, I'm trying to get out of my house. That's all she said. And I said to her, okay, is he physically violent? Are you in any danger right now? And then she goes, no, he's out of the country. So he's back on Wednesday, which is day after tomorrow. So she's trying to get out quickly. And I asked her, do you need any help? And she said that she was almost done with the packing because she'd been doing it for a while, stealthily. But she was more worried about, because this was a place she'd lived in for 9 years. She was more worried about plants and, things that she'd built up herself, some pieces of furniture. And it was such a sticky situation. And I remember speaking to a colleague at work. And my colleague, she's like me, but she's safer than I am. I'm not always safe. I tend to go to help people. And she said, no, do not go to help her. Give her moral support. And then when she's out of the house, you can go to help her. But for now, here is a number of a removal company that she can use. They're quick, they're fast, they're discreet, they're men, they'll come with a van. They'll help you move anything you want, and they'll move it to the new place, and they won't pack it for you quickly. So I gave her the details, and I think she's almost finished anyway with her packing. But so much came out of that conversation, so much, because it made me realize that for the entire relationship, he'd been emotionally and verbally abusive. And something in her cracked in the last, I think, maybe few months, because I haven't spoken to her in a while, where she could not handle the abuse. He never touched her, but she couldn't handle the emotion, like the verbal abuse anymore, and the put downs. And she's a beautiful woman. She's so nice, so friendly, so vibrant. But whenever I saw her, she seemed fragile, increasingly fragile and stressed. Her hair was like straw. She just seemed fragile and stressed. And I thought, I'm at a stage now in my life where you have to tell me. I'm not always going to ask anymore, because whenever I've tried to help people in the past, it's come back to bite me. And we've had situations where we've tried to help friends in violent situations, and seriously, they've turned around and they've just slapped us in the face. So a lot of my friends are very, give moral support, give moral guidance, give, phone calls, whatever, but don't step in that house, because if that man shows up and he sees someone else helping her, he's gonna flip, and that could get very dangerous. Now, I asked her, okay, you've been in the city for 10 years. You've lived here for 10 years. Where are your friends? Can I've only known you for like 2 years, and that's not much, very barely. Get your friends out, start packing, Oh, I don't have any more. How about all the people I saw you sitting at the cafe with? They were all his friends. They're all married to his friends. Oh. And then I asked, how about your family? Because one thing that will always support you when times are tough and things go wrong is family. Your parents, your mother, your father. Oh. No, they like him a lot. What do you mean? If they knew he was insulting you, whatever. Oh, no, they like him a lot. Because he earns a lot of money. Right? So they, to them that's like a very welcome thing, because he probably sends them money as well. And for me, that was the most heartbreaking thing of all. Where she hasn't even told her parents. And I noticed that whenever I've spoken to her about Christmases or whatever, she doesn't bother going home. Because she's from a neighbouring country. She doesn't bother going home. She just stays here. And it was just the most chilling and heartbreaking and difficult thing to listen to observe, to watch. I need a quick coffee. I'm parched. I feel like I haven't had a coffee in ages for some reason. Right. So she's isolated. She's isolated from her friends. She can't go to her parents because and I think her parents hold her brother in high regard, but not her. All these little stories. I just hear these stories over and over again. Honestly, I'm just grateful for the way I was brought up. Because a lot of the advice we got in my family was not about don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. They led more by example. And I think that's the best way you can tell children or young adults or young people what's good for them and what's not good for them. Leading them by example and just leading the life you want from them. Being the people you want them to be. Because my friend said to me, I didn't have any good examples. I thought men had to be domineering and insulting and this and that. And I thought, where would you even get that idea from? Because her father's that way. And the fact that they idolize her husband because he has money and he's wealthy and it's so disgusting. And then she just kept talking to me through the day, and the more she spoke, the worse it got. Because it's not just like emotional abuse. There's financial abuse as well. There's just so many things. And money is a big issue. And then he's isolated her from her friends. So she doesn't have any friends anymore, because in the last, all her friends are his friends. They're his friends first. They're loyal to him first. They are all the men. So they are loyal to him first. And then the wives are just there because, and in situations like that, the wives aren't your friends. Because they're loyal to their husbands first. It's such a mess. So she has no friends. I'm her only friend. How is that possible? And I think, her dogs give her a lot of comfort. And obviously, pets are amazing. And I said to her, do you need any help taking care of your dogs? Because I know that when you're moving, especially in a crisis situation, the dog situation is what can really trigger you, can really affect you to that extent. And she said, no, because the dogs are safe. I've put them in my new place and I'm just moving across to my new place. So she had the finances, luckily, to secure a space for herself where she could have her dogs with her. These are two huge Akitas. You know, these are not tiny little dogs like mine. So I think that has given her a sense of comfort, a sense of balance, a sense of like, everything's going to be okay. Because as long as the dogs are okay, it sounds a bit silly to people who don't have animals, but as long as the animals are fine, that's your comfort, because those are your friends for now. And then you can start to rebuild. But, you know, as we're talking, because we were talking through the day, and yesterday was a busy day for me because I had so many classes. But we were talking through the day, and like, she said so much. I can't even get into half of what she said because there's not enough time in this video. We'll be talking until tomorrow. She said so much, and there's so many things that he's done in the last 9 years. And he also wanted to get married quickly, which is another really negative sign. She wasn't sure about marrying him from the start. She wanted to get to know him better, but he was apparently head over heels in love with her, and really, really wanted to get married. Yet, he's been an absolutely horrible husband. So I guess what I'm trying to say, in like so many different ways, is that just be careful, because I mean, I knew something was up with him, especially from the way he reacted to me. Clearly doesn't like women who are independent or single. He doesn't like women who are single. He doesn't like women who are, you know, just doing their own thing. He doesn't like that. A lot of these guys don't like that. And the number of times I have met a friend's new boyfriend and this guy would not look me in the eyes. I'm not even intimidating. I'm 5'2", 5'3". I'm tiny. I'm so small. I'm not intimidating to look at all. But the number of times I've met them and these guys will not look you in the eye. They'll look down, look sideways, look away. They'll distract themselves with something. So at first, when I was younger, I thought it was a lack of self-confidence. Now, I realise, and I'm so glad I realised, that it's something much, much darker. And I've had 2 friends in the last maybe 7 years introduce me to their partners. Their partners haven't looked me in the eye. I've said to my friends, he's not making eye contact. That's very strange. And they said, oh no. What I've always been called is, oh Oyinda, you're doing too much. You're too vigilant. You're too this. You're too that. I'm too much. Yet these people are the ones who've always been ended up in abusive relationships. The guys have shown them shiggy. They've shown them pepe. You know, and it's caused so much pain and so much just pain. Just so much pain. Yeah, I'll be strong today because I intend to do a lot today, so is this gonna work? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about these coffee filters, you know. Not great. I don't know how I go from on time to like late. It's the story of my life. Oh. You're right, girl. Thank you. Hello, Oscar. Yes. I think it's important for us to learn when we're being manipulated, when someone isn't good for us, when we're being insulted on the down low, you know, when like someone is like being subtle with insults, but it's still an insult, or they're trying to put you down. Luckily, I was taught to cotton onto those sorts of things very, very early on in my life. So I just used to shut it down, you know. But yeah, she's doing fine. So it's a very sobering experience. It's very sobering, but it's reality, and it happens to a lot of people. And it's a shame that it happens at all, and that we can't shut it down, because especially as women, we've been taught that, oh, if someone wants to marry you, that's amazing. Get married. If someone wants you, you should be grateful because someone wants you. And she was just happy, although she had reservations about the marriage because she didn't really know him that well, and he really wanted to get married. He swept her off her feet, and lo and behold, here we are, where she's having to sort of sneak out to escape from him. So it's sobering for everyone involved, but it's a good lesson. But you know what, he'll move on to the next person, because there'll always be women who've been, I don't know if the word is traumatized, but who've been trodden on so early on in their lives that they don't know that they have a choice, they have a voice, they can do what they want, they can, the world really is their oyster. They don't realize that yet, and it's so heartbreaking. Anyway, that's the vlog for today. Sorry it was so down in the dumps and stuff, but I think life can't always be chilling and fun and happy. I think life has to be, we have to learn something from it as well. And what was interesting was my friend, she has these 2 dogs I mentioned before. She has these 2 Akitas, and she absolutely loves them. She loves those dogs. And I think what's making it easier for her is going to the new place with her dogs, because there's that companionship. It feels like home, even though it's not home. And she was, complaining about the possessions that she was leaving behind and how she built a sanctuary in her home. And I said, yeah, you built a sanctuary, but it's an illusion, because you need to build your own sanctuary where you're safe, and you're not safe where you are. But it's good for her to have dogs where she can escape and just start to rebuild again and make friends, or hopefully reconnect with her old friends. All her old friends are gone. To me, that's crazy. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Anyway, guys, have to love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Make good decisions, and try to trust your instincts as well. All right, bye. Raffles.